What do we have on? Well, I guess I gotta do, hold on. I'd like to start this meeting. Is everybody, thank you all for coming. Wow. I can sign autographs, whatever you need. I'm not sick. I just have a scratchy throat and stuff, and there's stuff going around, so I'm just trying to keep you all safe. Not that a mask works, but we'll go with that. Okay. So, who do we have on Zoom? You said we have Lenny and Dan La Rochelle.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming, you kids. Dan L. All right. First thing we're gonna do is approve the minutes for February 15th, which is our previous select board meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yep. I think, yeah, we get a second.
Second? Excuse me. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Great.
You just have to find them, but I'll bring them up.
Yep. And we need to approve warrants 17 and payroll warrants for. Thank you. We would like to approve the payroll, the warrant 17 and payroll warrants for January 31st, February 21st, and February 28th, and March 5th.
So moved.
Okay. And that's her second, so, right?
She
She made the motion. Would you like to second that?
second it.
Yep. Good. All in favor? Great. RSU 10 report. Is there anyone that attended the RSU 10 or school board meeting that just recently happened?
I can tell you that, Mr. Collison took out nomination papers.
Awesome. Good to know. I do know they're making some pretty quick progress with earthwork over on I think what's called Harlow. They have a Harlow Hill Road over there too, where the school is, the new school. Here you go, Leanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue building, the neighbor that I'm working with kids,
Yes.
right next to the road on the
Oh,
hill.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the police department's gonna be right there, and then the school is gonna be behind it.
nice.
to keep an eye on the beehives.
Trying
And
to get electricity to it so we can put security there, we have like 35 or 40 bee suits.
oh, nice.
A lot of money
Yeah,
invested into that building.
And just having it next to the police department is not severe enough.
We'll feel better once you get funding.
yeah. And you can keep an eye on it. Absolutely. All right, road report.
And Ben said that he's going to be dragging the dirt roads so they will dry out. We'll start that soon. The difference in my road just today is tremendous.
I've received many phone calls and emails and Facebook messages from people that were in distress because the roads are so muddy and they're breaking down so quickly because, you know, it is still winter, but absolutely.
The reason why roads are breaking down so quick, especially the dirt roads, is them wet before two rainstorms and put pure salt on the dirt road. And on Tucker Road for sure, twice, and there wasn't even any ice or snow on the road. So that takes the frost right out of the road faster than it would normally go out.
Well, it's certainly,
I mean, I was
Added to it,
you have
Al.
look at
Yeah.
Big chunks of
Yeah.
salt, I don't know why you would waste salt.
we had a lot of roads, at least the Berry Road was, the shaded parts were all ice for quite a while, so.
This was just like 3 days ago, 3 days ago.
Well, there are actually still, there are actually still icy stretches on the
My house always at the end was dirt. Twice.
Gotcha. Well, that is, we'll ask him about that now.
What, trying out a sander, was he?
No, it was,
Actually,
one time.
you wanna know what it was really about? Yeah, he has received a call just about every day of the week
From
from
the
a
school
school
bus
bus driver who
lady.
says, I can't drive up there, you've gotta get out there and sand and salt, I cannot drive on these roads, I need sand and salt, I need.
We
it
have a
now."
school bus
And-
woman that's already had it.
and,
yeah.
well,
A little bit of salt and sand, because you're only supposed to put salt in there to make the sand adhere to the road. Not, when you put too much salt on, it just goes right down through the ice, and then you have ice. There's no gripping to salt like that when there's ice, you know that,
Yeah,
you know, there's only a very small percentage of salt on the sand.
well, all I know is I've gotten a lot of calls, including the private pond roads are just,
Oh, yes, they-
are just so smushy right now, and it happens that way, but this year is just
The more
super
salt
early.
you put on the roads, the faster they're gonna break up, even your.
Well, it has nothing to do with that on our pond roads, because nobody's salting, so. Yes,
So Saturday,
yep,
roads posted, why am I seeing, big dump trucks with a long bed trailer with a big, what was that, excavator on top of it going by my house Saturday morning?
What time?
I got pictures.
You know what the temperature
Because
was?
I heard it go by empty and I'm like,
I don't know, but I don't care about the pictures, but what was the temperature on?
weird. I don't think it matters if the road is
No,
posted.
no, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Well,
matter.
It matters quite a lot.
Temperature
it's-
goes down to freezing and the road's frozen. in the
It's
morning.
okay.
If it was only, if it was thawed out the day before,
It'll freeze, the road will freeze.
If it's below 30, if it's below freezing, then they can go on
I don't know what the temperature.
You know, the posters on the roads don't say anything about what the temperature was the day before. It just says if the temperature is
That's it.
below 32, they are allowed to scoot on there and do whatever it is they're gonna do. I hear what
It
you're
doesn't make sense, that road is deep. And they continue to drive these big trucks over that road. And I'm sick of having to, we had to actually go 3 miles out of our way to get here, because we couldn't take Tucker Road because we'd get stuck on Tucker Road. Because
Muddy.
it's
tonight.
Muddy.
paved. So we had to go, we go around, I had to go through that one time and it was like driving through, slush.
It's
right,
a-
that's
it
what
is-
my road is right now, yeah.
I almost got stuck. I was
Welcome to
driving
the,
through
welcome to mud
Yeah.
season in the country.
Well, on a main access road to the town office, I think it should be paved first of all. And so having to go all the way around, we have to skirt, I don't know how many
Yeah.
potholes on Town Farm Road. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
talking all year round, big holes that we have to dig through.
Well, I know that, BIM is gonna be looking at, some paving money and some bonds, so, on some of these roads. so.
Section of the whole road.
Right,
needs to be
no, I
done.
don't think he's talking about section, I think he's talking the road,
Really.
so,
We can one.
thank you very much.
They will talk. They should.
Okay,
Might happen someday, but don't hold your breath.
what about the request for a light on Route 219 and 140? Do we have any new information on that?
We do, it's in our packet.
It's-
Well, I know BIM's not here and it's part of road report, so,
Yeah, no, it's this piece here from Representative Tammy Snowball Burgess, and more or less what it ends up saying to the DOT is that, this location would not qualify for a traffic signal or blinking light. And honestly, municipalities tend to not support blinking lights, as they become responsible for the maintenance of them. This is something I've never heard of.
Me neither.
I think there is some random BS, but in any case, no, it says here, I spoke with a safety officer regarding this intersection and regional traffic engineer, this is not a high crash location, which surprised me. There is at this location, however, within speed and sight distance, there's a curve and a well stop sign ahead, and people are driving 50 to 55, and I'm seeing that, yeah, no kidding.
They're waiting for fatal to happen before they do
Evidently.
anything.
Then, so it says here, may DOT install a double arrow at this intersection in the path, and when the property owner removed it, we can reinstall it and make sure to stop and stop ahead signs are oversized in the appropriate locations. They will not give us a flashing light at the corner.
Can you just say that real heavy formally?
There is, Megan Russo, Manager of Legislative and Constituent Services, Maine DOT, 16 State House Station, Augusta, Maine. 04333, and I have a telephone number too if you'd like it.
Maybe one of those stop signs that has lights on it.
Yeah, they get those.
They get
have
those
the-
too?
They have the lights that.
I think we need something flashy. I mean, because people are gonna come flying into the center of town anyway, and.
Maybe it's been so foggy, you can't see anything.
How they can say it's not a high crash location, it's kind of hard to imagine, I guess you have to be, pretty much in Portland and having crashes on a weekly basis before it seems high crash.
Okay, thank you, Lee, very much.
Pardon?
Steve, do we have a constable report?
Nothing to report, but other than the place of the news today, we'll be on, we'll be back soon again. To reports.
Great. Code enforcement report.
Mr. Webster is here about the issue that was on the agenda for the last meeting. Subdivision problem.
Right. So we have this letter from the, code officer. And his opinion was, I reviewed the situation and find that one, this is an 18-year-old violation if one exists, and two, the original owner's location is unknown at this time, and three, to determine if there is in fact a violation, one would have to do their own private search by a legal entity to evaluate dates of transfer, possible exemptions, including transfers to related parties, 5-year exemptions, 40-acre exemptions, and other allowed land use exemptions. And basically what he said was, unless more information becomes available, I do not intend to pursue legal action at this time due to the anticipated costs and the unlikely success of bringing it into compliance. We recommend should Mr. Webster approach the select board, you set aside the violation, however, your legal advisor guides you to do so. As far as I know, we have not consulted a legal advisor at this time. So I'd like to suggest that we either set aside the violation regardless of legal advisors, or that we remand it immediately to a legal advisor. And under this circumstance, I think our legal advisor should probably be the Maine Municipal Association, because this is the sort of thing that is their purview.
Yeah, I suggest that we do contact Maine Municipal Association for their advice on this.
What?
It came to the planning board first.
He came to the planning board first, and we decided that it wasn't our issue directly, but we did ask MMA for their opinion, and in our subsequent discussion with the CEO who was at the next meeting, we decided it was in his jurisdiction to decide, and that's what we came up with. I think our question to the whether or not the planning board had jurisdiction over this question, and did not, so that's why we see.
Yeah, because the minutes say that Len would seek the advice of the Maine Municipal Association on the matter and report back to the board, and she might have said something the other night, and I don't think I might have missed that part.
Yeah, well, as I said, we had decided, the outcome was that it was not our decision to make, it was for the CEO, because he's the one who has to report.
But did Lenny?
Hold on, Leanne.
I'm trying to.
Yeah,
Yes,
is that Lenny or Dave?
Lenny.
Lenny, go ahead.
Hi, who is speaking? Who is just speaking about Mr. Webster?
Peggy from planning.
Oh, okay. I couldn't really hear her. We took it up at the planning board. I contacted Maine Municipal. I think I copied everybody to the email.
No,
Anyway, they kicked it, kicked it back to the CEO and the select board, and apparently the select board can, oh, I forgot the word. You can make it possible for this gentleman to sell his land.
So it is within our purview to make that decision, according to the Maine Municipal Association.
That was my understanding.
And also, because I looked at legislature, I looked at the laws to see what your decisions were,
Mhm.
if it's a land issues or code issue, I mean, zoning issues or something, I can't remember what I looked at, but I was looking at the main statutes and giving it to the select board is the appropriate for whoever makes the decision for the town.
Well, I move that we choose to,
Set the violation aside, or?
set this violation aside and pursue no legal action on the subject and allow Mr. Webster to, sell his property.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Second, great. All in favor? Is Mr. Webster here?
Congratulations, Mr. Webster.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck with this.
Okay, the language is, I found the emails,
Oh,
that the select board has the right to set aside the violation.
we did. We just voted on. it.
Okay. I
Thank
can't
you.
hear everything, but.
I
okay.
know. So sorry.
It's okay.
Respond to the, Mr. Webb, and this is going to go, so you'll know, or you want me to-
We'll take care of it.
Mr. Webster's right here.
No, Miss ACO. I mean CEO.
Yeah,
Do we have a ACO animal control report for last month yet? No, okay. And planning board report, which is so nicely right here. Thank you, Peggy.
So the reason I came is because the big thing that we're working on is.
Can I get you to move forwards so that would be awesome.
that way people who are on Zoom can actually hear your voice.
Yeah,
So the big thing we've been working on is there's, I guess it was in 22 LD 203 pass, which is a change in how property is dealt with in Maine. Basically, it says that any single family house lot in the entire state of Maine has to allow 2 dwelling units to be constructed on it. And in addition, it has to be allowed an accessory dwelling unit, which is something probably smaller in structure. There's various ways to define what it is.
Mother-in-law apart.
Right, but it would be either in the same building, attached to the same building, or a separate building. It could be those 3 things. And it also states that any town that has any growth areas, that in a growth area, you have to allow up to 4 dwelling units if it is vacant. I forget what it is if you have something on there already. And they re-looked at it again when the deadline was, but the section can be enforced as state law as of July 1st this year. So whether we have an ordinance that addresses this provision or not, we have to allow 2 dwelling units on any single family house lot and 4 in a designated growth zone. So the designated growth zone raised the issue of, well, as in a comprehensive plan, either as a designated growth zone if you have by zoning or in a comprehensive plan. So we have a 2008 comprehensive plan that designated 4 growth zones for the community of Hartford. And the comprehensive plan committee that was going to try to enact the suggestions in that plan fell apart after 13 months and nothing was ever carried through. So then I did work. I've been learning all about reading legislation because there's so many things involved. And I found out, which is the footnote, whatever I printed out there, that there's a page on the state website that says even if your comprehensive plan is outdated, it's only considered consistent for 12 years, the provisions in there for growth are still legally binding, meaning somebody can come into town and say, well, you didn't say this growth area, you didn't say it anyway, it was no longer a growth area by any other change, so I can still build 4 housing units in any
property that's in the area, regardless of what the town might say, or they could legally sue to have the right to do that. So what the planning board has done is we've taken pretty much word for word what ALCOG and the state has recommended for how to enact this, the verbiage to enact this law. There were two decision points. One was, how we're going to define the accessory dwelling unit. We decided to limit it at 900 square feet. And the other decision point was for designated growth areas. The comprehensive plan clearly stated to allow smaller minimum lot sizes. So we decided as the board to set that at 1.5 acres. And then for the designated growth areas, I took the map from the comprehensive plan and looked at all the tax maps and drew maps of what would make sense about that. And just to give you some insight, the 2008 plan was based upon data for the population of Hartford and all the other data from the year 2000. And since 2000 to 2020, Hartford has increased by 25% in population. So we figured it was reasonable to enact at least those growth areas that were determined from 2000 population. That's what we done.
Peggy,
Well said.
deciphering all that,
What?
deciphering all that legal jargon and, I mean, you took on this great project.
Right into our building lot standard. I just put all the verbiage in from the law. So we didn't have to.
Thank you.
Zoning laws.
She's done yeoman service.
Yes, Leanne.
And then.
Oh,
So is this the final to go to the lawyer if?
And I just had to say that one correction, when I sent you that copy yesterday. In the definition of the accessory dwelling unit, there was one little phrase that I forgot to put in because I was so focusing on making those underlines. Is that the accessory dwelling unit is, because it's to get a building permit, is only on a lot where the owner occupies the, well, to get an accessory dwelling permit. So that's why I think I sent Leanne another copy that had that phrase in there.
Leanne,
If you approve this to go to the lawyer, do you want me to put it in the correct format, or do you want the lawyer to do it, because he charges quite a bit?
I would think that you would do a great job of it, even though I know.
you are so good at that.
I just have to retype it, so all the changes.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for that.
That would be super. Thank you. Peggy, thanks again. Holy moly.
Yeah, I think that, anybody who's sitting here, any art who does anything sitting here, should notice now that we owe her quite a debt of appreciation for being the chairman of our planning board. She's doing it too.
Okay,
I need a motion to send it
Oh.
to the lawyer, because I can't.
I'd like,
We send it to the lawyer.
No second it.
all in favor? All opposed?
As amended by.
As amended.
As retyped and reformatted by.
All right, now I would like to move on to the ordinance committee, and we do have an ordinance administrative part 2 amendment rewrite that's here. Would you like to talk about that,
Yeah.
Bonnie?
Yeah, the ordinance.
Can I get you to stand up, please? And
Sure, yeah. The ordinance committee, met, last evening and we welcomed, new members to the bylaw. And, she kindly, took notes, for me, which I really appreciate it. So the main thing that we were working on, last month and again, last night was, pertaining to the recreation committee being part of the administrative ordinance, part 2, which, last month we agreed that the recreation committee should be added. So the section that we talked about last month that was rewritten was section 2.37 of the recreation committee. The basics premise of that says the purpose of the recreation committee of the town of Hartford is advisory only with regards to improvements to town recreation fields, the town-owned beach, and other recreational property and activities.
The committee will work closely with the select board in developing an annual budget, a work plan to establish long-term goals, and identifying current needs for the town recreation properties. So we talked about it last month, and, Ben was here, last month, and Jeremy, who are people who do, you know, of course, Ben's the road commissioner, so people who do work on these properties, we had thought that perhaps to take a little bit of that away from the recreation committee, because even though they might be involved with like cutting brush, minor type of work like that, they probably really wouldn't have the experience or knowledge, or may not want the responsibility to do all the work on, some of these areas. So the ordinance committee, we, talked about, the, amendment proposal to the amendment, last night, and we, agreed to submit to the select board and voted on that we would also add the following sentence to section 2.37 of the administrative ordinance part 2 amendment to say, the maintenance of the railroad bed, town beach parking lot, trail and boardwalk will be managed by the road commissioner. Accordingly, the road commissioner will be involved with identifying needs for the town recreation properties. So that's a recommendation that we put forth, to the select board.
That makes sense to me because how I picture the recreation committee as being as much a steering committee as, you know, I'm sure they'll be active in maybe putting up the floats at the beach and stuff like that, but I see a lot of their role as being steering committee, not doing road work.
Yeah, the ongoing maintenance work.
Yeah.
Right.
of all
And volunteers that can help with swim lessons as in the past and anything that at the ball fields and activities that they want to do and
You know, there may be any number of other things in the past. Our recreation committee has sponsored yoga classes and belly dance classes and other things that have taken place here in the town hall.
And it was our goal ostensibly to get this rewritten and, get it, discussed and agreed on to pass on to tonight so that it can go into the town report for the warrant for the annual meetings. So that was what our goal was. And then, we also, as an ordinance committee, but more as concerned citizens, he had questions about LD 2003, so, in chatting with Peggy yesterday, I knew that she was going to come here tonight and, share some information with us. And then, next month when we get together, and like I told, Catherine, we attended last night, we said, unless the select board gives us some other work to do, we are basically going to start working on the road standards portion of the subdivision ordinance. And, and I'm aware that, and it has been said that probably other ordinances need to be reviewed too. But, in light of, the subdivision on the Bear Pond Road, we felt that that was something that we should look into. And fortunately, we had 2 members of the committee who were very well seasoned and all that work. So that's report of the ordinance committee. Thank you.
thank you. A lot of work done. Do we need to vote on this?
Well, it depends what you want to do. Do you want to wait till next meeting until I change this?
For
So you
minute.
can look at the whole thing, or do you want me to insert this and send it to the lawyer?
I mean, we have time enough to get it added
Rewritten.
into the. Yeah, if we have time enough, I think that taking our time is probably well
Yeah.
advised.
You can insert, we can look at the whole ordinance.
Thanks so much.
Excellent. Thank you and thank you. All right, next thing on the agenda is the fire warden report. Nothing going on?
And no, there's been a few calls for fire permits.
Okay. And the treasurer's report, which I think we already all saw. How are we doing on, I know we saw some stuff highlighted on there. How are we doing on, our fleet bank and investment interest?
Northeast.
Northeast, excuse me.
Good.
They were
It's
the
4.9.
but that was-
Right, I know, they change names so often.
It's-
Yeah, so we're still doing well. The reason I ask is we used to not make much money on our funds, and we moved everything over to Northeast Bank, and we're making, you know, tons more than we used to that will come back to our community and be used purposefully, but it's just nice to see that our money's making money for our residents. Okay, cemetery committee report.
Cemetery committee has nothing new to report at this time.
No down trees or anything in the cemeteries we know of?
It's good to hear.
Excellent, that is good news. All right, solid waste has not met.
No, we still don't have enough members for a forum, so, likely I'll be, unless something really amazing happens, I'll be canceling next Wednesday's meeting.
And if anyone in this room is interested to be on the solid waste committee, we have some available positions if anyone is interested in joining.
Don't all jump at once.
Okay. Calendar reminders, solid waste committee is next Wednesday at 6:30. Yeah.
Just,
In theory,
yeah.
yeah. 2021 tax lien foreclosures will be March 16th at 1:00. There's a public hearing on Darrington Road, open to winter maintenance, March 21st at 6:30. I think you need to wait till open session. These are just the calendar reminders. Yeah. Planning board meeting is March 4th at 7. And those are the calendar reminders. Did we have a good turnout for voting, Leanne? Mediocre,
166.
166.
900 voters.
Okay. Unfinished business, curbside collection bid opening.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
It's sharp. I don't want to cut towards myself. Okay. We received 4 bids, correct? Solid waste systems.
Oh. You'll notice that one was not sealed because it was sent in with no clue that it, to me, that it was a bid.
This one here?
And I did not look at it. I started to pull it out and I stuck it back in and taped it.
Okay. No.
This fellow said at this point that, you know, I think it's can't say right now, because they need 12 to 18 months to ramp up. but they won't be considered in future bidding processes. The seller.
But this is part of the same way, it's not taken apart. Yes, I've got
There's
this, I've
paper
got
clips right here.
I've got a couple of pictures.
Here's two, yep.
I've taken apart my. This one, you feel?
Keep them with the envelope.
What's that?
Keep them with the envelope.
Oh, this is part of, all part of.
That's the seller who is not gonna bid. More for them.
This one goes, this goes with this. Just like that. Oh. Okay. Okay, so that letter is.
Name of GCN.
I'm just trying to figure.
Which one do you have there? Yeah.
We just passed the. Envelope and all. Yep.
Monthly, 83. Years, 940 yearly. And then the cycling costs, 2,500 monthly, 30,000 yearly. This is one for our two, okay. No, no, of course, not. Yeah. It is. They had some nice things to say, but they want to go in a different fashion, and they're not ready, they want to purchase things. Not ready to do that. 12-month ramp up is what they're looking for. So, but they said they want to do it in the next bit.
You guys figure those things out for apples for apples?
We're trying.
It's fine. I'm sitting here thinking.
I know
that.
that being patient through this is going to be like, gonna be torture. But you're just gonna have to live with it because it's no small thing. It's no small thing. Well, as fine as we can get.
Nope. He does some of our stores up in that area. But they'll be in this area. Archie's is 3-4 times over 2. Oh, he didn't give a must be a bit. It's really that every year. Evidently, from that way every year. Yeah, it's just a little bit. When we did it. I know we asked you, the requirement was a 3 bit. So I'm guessing that's what he's. Actually, we did 5 bits. He's going to do 5 bits. You gonna give that every year? Is that what you meant? Really? Yeah. This one. Yeah. Yeah. Right, not established. You know, couldn't do it next week, but that way. No. This didn't start. Me too. And they already got the job. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. How does it come from it? Yes. What's wrong? Yeah, that's what office, yeah. I see what you, yes. Okay, so do we have a consensus? I think it has to be, oh, I know, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. All right, we've reviewed the 4 information packets and bids that came in.
You're gonna list them,
What's that?
you're gonna tell everyone who.
Listen,
Yep. So the people that bid are, Gregory's Disposal, Archie's J&J's Disposal, Kinsella, and Steve Ellsman put together.
We don't actually have a bid from Casella, we just
No,
have
no, I'm
an
just-
advertising pack.
Yeah, I would have just told them that, yeah.
Correct? Okay.
So, out of the 4, Casella is not prepared to put in a bid. They gave us a lot of great information, but aren't ready to ramp up in 6 months, so they feel like they'd like to be included, like to talk to the town ahead of time, like the year before the next one comes up, and, come up with a better process to get better pricing. And, so they want to be included in the next bid process, but they're not ready to do anything now. We so appreciate Steve Ellsman's bid, which is competitive. But at this point, we're just looking at companies that are gonna, trash is a very, very sensitive topic in this town. Something goes wrong, something's not picked up, something, whatever. It's on Facebook, they're calling the select board, they're calling the town office. And we want to be very thoughtful about every bid that comes in, but we also want some established company that has all the vehicles ready to go, that has a proven track record. So we also got a bid from Gregory's Disposal, which is out of Fairfield, Maine. It is competitive, also included liability. One price for the next, we're assuming it's one price for every single year. It's not incremental, it doesn't give multiple year prices, but it is competitive. Looking at the Archie's proposal, it's for the next several years, it's less than Greg's Disposal, but it does go up higher on year 4 and year 5. So at this point, I would like to make a motion that we continue with Archie's. I second it. All in favor?
Can I say accept the bid from?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to accept the bid from Archie's. And we get a second. All in favor? Okay,
Would you be willing to disclose the bid amounts from the 2 that we?
so
say
it,
are-
It's 5 different years with 5 different.
So for 3 years, or 5?
yeah, there's multiple pricing here. So they give you a price
Same
for,
price, 3 years?
so, Kyle gave us the same price for 3 years. You want me to read them out too?
Well, for 3 years or 5 years, he didn't actually specify how many years.
He didn't say how many
He gave
years.
One price, and was that
Yeah.
88,000?
83,940 for the year. And Archie's was for the first year, 57,240. This doesn't include the tipping, which are the fees and stuff that go when they bring the trash somewhere else.
This is hauling fees.
Yes, yeah. For 25-26, Archie's is 60,102, still compared to the 83,000. 26, 27 is 63,107. Compared to the 83,000, he's incrementally goes up by 3,000 every single year. And he does give a monthly price too, which is the breakdown of the annual.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So he estimates, just to give you the heads up, Gregory's disposal estimates that, curbside bulky waste pickup once a year would estimate 50 tons annually will cost about $22,000 annually. At 50 tons is what he's estimating. And Archie's having lots of information because they've done it a while. Actually knows, has only given us a price for bulky waste for 1 year. It's done by the hour at the following rates, and it includes a driver for the roll-off, the trash trucks, the pickup truck and supervisors, the 1 ton and the laborers. And then metal, steel from collection goes back and credited to the town
Did he give you a dollar amount for that?
for each one of the hours. Yeah,
It's hourly.
Not a total for the yearly annual pickup.
nope,
No, because,
Greg received
because
you,
an annual, yeah, for a curbside, for bulky.
last year, 25,000 auctions. This year, it's not including that total price at all.
I don't believe the contract is ever included the total price, because it's hourly and you don't know how many hours it's been.
Yeah.
The bid-
Hopefully.
The bid asked for a total price, bid package.
So he quoted, done by the hour at the following rates. We hope this year to, just as a sidebar, we hope this year to reduce the bulky waste by limiting to 1 pickup truck load, changing what can be recycled, and giving people resources on where they can bring their stuff year round versus storing it all up. And I'm hoping with Leanne's help and our new, Jocelyn, how do you? Jaylene, that we can get some things incrementally out on Facebook that says, here are the things you can recycle, or Hartford bulky waste limited to 1 pickup truck load per household. Things versus doing an information dump, here's a brochure, just kind of putting out some information to these folks so that they can prepare.
Thank you, certainly felt worthwhile to put out the bid.
It was great to see many.
For
Yeah.
interested in someone that's interested in being the next time.
Yes.
Thank you, great job.
Dave Bowen, can you stand up so we can hear you?
Do you know of any options that the town could possibly contract with, just to have residents bring their bulky waste to? Versus doing a curbside pickup to potentially save us money?
Other towns are going to, rather than doing curbside, some of them are doing dumps, roll-offs, having us put roll-offs in, setting them and doing it like a Saturday or Sunday weekend thing, and have people doing curbside.
Then we could just have an employee from your company, or would the town have to provide an employee to manage that?
That probably that is most towns, so just let me. Sorry.
Hey, absolutely.
That's a
We-
cost.
It's a huge cost.
It's a big cost and big
Yeah.
headache for you.
There's a place up the road from me on Blueberry Lane that they have at least 3 dump truck loads, and I have no idea where that comes from every year. But they won't this year though, because we're not picking that all up.
I'll address it to the select board because I need to address it to the select board rather than Dave, but I think a contract could be had with waste energy in Auburn. By the tonnage, you'd have to state where you're from, way in and way out. And then that could be charged to the town by a tipping fee,
Extremely high.
$110 tipping fee, from what I understand,
Sounds low. I think it's close to 100.
depending on the tip.
Right, is there someone
That's
on
what
the
town
computer?
manager in Buckfield said something like that.
Lenny, would you like to go next?
I just wanted to ask if we can continue to have our buy nothing day, which did reduce the waste, bulky waste, and is a great community event. I've been doing it for 2 years and I'm certainly willing to do it again.
She's talking about, buy nothing.
Mhm.
The buy nothing sale that they've had here for 2 years where they,
It's been remarkably popular. Since we don't have a swap shop, people love being able to have a place that they can bring their unwanted goods that are still good stuff. And bring it here and put it on the tables and then people come
Do
in.
you want
and
it on the
have it.
next agenda?
I'm happy to approve it now. Oh.
Insurance,
I think that this is a town event. We're reducing our costs through bulky waste.
Yeah. Call it a town thing.
Lenny, would you be willing to have it be a town function?
Absolutely.
I'm on it now, we're under curbside pickup.
Yep, okay. We can add it to the next agenda. That would be wonderful. Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another question, Al. Oh, and we have another question after, Dave.
So if you did the rollouts here and people had to bring in stuff, it would make it more accountable.
It would also make it hard for people who just drive a little car and can't carry large items.
A lot of people that will help. You know, around here, there's always
It's
people that will
conceivable, but
help. You know, somebody had a refrigerator or something. A lot of people will pick up trucks. It's just the idea.
a lot of people
if you
would
don't
pick
make
up
people
trucks.
accountable. They're just gonna keep taking advantage of.
I think we're moving in the right direction. I do. I like the idea that Kyle just mentioned, and I think that's a great idea to start limiting it. I know we probably don't have time to do it this year.
Alan.
Who?
Got you.
Alan? Oh,
Yeah,
great.
I'm not a taxpayer here, so I'm just gonna throw this out, you need to put some restrictions on the amount that people can bill case.
I'm-
Say we go wrong.
You know something, approving a flyer on that is in our agenda tonight, as a matter of fact. You know,
'Cause- Yeah,
it was in the.
it's in the packet.
It's next.
It's next, so we can just roll right into that, but that's exactly what we've done. Okay.
There's a question back here.
Oh, sorry, Dave Bowen, question.
So, now in this year's current contract, does that include rate for bulky waste pickup, or is that an hourly rate? So this current contract for the bulky waste in June, is that an hourly rate as well? It's a set.
No, it's all that. You can't.
Oh,
When
okay.
we're doing 60 to 80 tons of trash and another 20, 40 tons of metal and tires. You know, how many tons? That's a huge deal.
So if the town was able to,
Well, see, that's the thing, you're letting.
Well, it's not all from our town.
yeah, I wasn't done. So if the town was, or if Archie's was acceptable to that, would you be willing to do the dumpster thing, maybe down past the? I just didn't know if it was an option based on the contract, that was my biggest question, and I agree with what Al said, I think would make people a lot more accountable. And you're not gonna have people just go stuff.
I really don't believe you get people from other towns coming to bring their stuff, and have their people in this town bring it down.
Dave, are you done?
I am.
Okay, and,
Yes, they do. Let me see.
okay, wait 1 second. Al, do you want to finish your statement?
No, that's about it. I mean, you just won't get,
We won't get as many, right?
I don't think so, because George is not gonna bring it up to Paul's and drop it off.
Gotcha,
So they can bring it down, you're asking them to
Right.
do more work.
exactly.
You know, the idea is you would need a loader here. You know,
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Alan can
Yeah.
handle that for us. Lenny. Oh, hands down. Alan, did you have something to share?
I was just gonna say, it would behoove you guys, someone to take the night before to clean up, or first thing in the morning, because you got a couple of clowns in town putting piles out that day. to ride around and see. Just take it, ride around and see what people feel. Down on the road, we got 3 courses down there that are jam packed. We go to the truck from the corner to the corner, load it, and it's on. And that stuff is coming from other places, but I don't believe the rest of the town is. I think. I mean, you're just
No,
allowing too much to come to Curtis.
Where was that?
Old County Road, so much to dig around on Old County Road.
Okay,
I think, is that the old State 140 down here near Sumner?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to solid waste, right? Unfinished business. Is it solid waste or swim lessons?
bulky collection.
Oh, bulky waste collection. Gotcha.
Bulky collection, flyer.
Yep.
I just gave away my copy, but I've already got it.
So I made some changes that were suggested at the last meeting, not all of them. I'm gonna give Alan a copy.
I just gave him my copy. You give me a copy and then we'll be all set. Please.
And would you like to talk about the changes you made to this land from our meeting, previous meeting?
I don't have it in front of me now.
Is it the underline?
This is like 1, 2, 3, pass.
We added 1 pickup load maximum, 2 loads were discussed last night,
Yeah.
or 1. No out of town.
Unpaid wood is not allowed at curbside and will not be collected.
Never do.
That's me.
Oh, she gave up because you started. I asked her to review the changes she's made. Yes, Leanne.
Can I ask Alan a question?
Yes.
Go ahead. Do you think measuring by truckload is okay? Okay. Okay, just don't want any misunderstandings like last year.
But it does say pickup trucks, so that kind of leaves out the gigantic trucks.
But I think if we start educating people now and send out some reminders, post on the Hartford Facebook page, and by the way, here's some changes coming up, and just start one at a time putting changes out there so that people understand. And also the ordinance committee last year put forward that they've got 2 weeks ahead to put their bulky waste out. And we don't want it out there now. We don't want it out there in April, that it's 2 weeks before, and then you got a couple days after to pick up whatever wasn't taken.
Unless you want to do the roll-off thing this year, I don't,
We can discuss it.
we get.
Well, we, right.
Fine.
Student.
Yeah, I don't mean later, I mean, for too long, doesn't have to be late though. I don't think.
No,
Well, that's what this. I
that's
would
why we're
have
gonna
to
do the
change
flyer, yeah.
I wanna get the word out
Yeah,
as
okay,
soon as
yeah,
possible.
So Alan, on this flyer, it says, please separate all items at curbside, bulky items, furniture, tires, treated wood, metal, in separate piles. So you're gonna be able to tell that it's a pickup truck load if they separate that all?
Yeah.
But that would be a great help too, because people actually come out with trash cans. And rather than leave it in the bag or the can for us to dump, and dump on the ground.
Ah.
This is a wood, 4 inches by 4 inches on the ground. It's just foolish, some of the stuff.
You can't expect it to be.
Well, I hate to believe it, because you hired me to clean it out.
Right, and yeah, we're paying these guys by the hour to do that. So,
You guys are paying extra for that.
Yeah.
yeah, no kidding. It's crazy.
Yeah. Teresa, do you have a question, my dear? Yeah,
You had one.
voted though.
okay.
Okay.
I spoke to several different people this past week.
and has made mention about our contract going out to bid. And, this town, which is anonymous, made a comment that they, oh my goodness, they had Archie, and, somebody else got the bid. And the following year was just horrible for them. That a lot of trash was being left behind, and they really regretted not keeping him. So I just
Yep.
thought that was something that we.
And I'll retort that we are not unhappy with Archie's at all. We are not unhappy, and no, and we're happy, and through the proper process, we are thrilled that he's gonna be continuing. Okay, so on the flyer, it does state on the very front flyer part, first page, 1 pickup truck load maximum allowed per household, so people should, once we get this out on Facebook, just know that I'm sure there's gonna be some people upset about it, but we've got to start managing this cost.
Do we think we want to, change to a, bring your own trash to the central location, program, rather than we'll drive around all over creation and pick up your stuff in the dooryard?
So my only concern is we have a lot of seasonal residents here that we move bulky waste into June. And unless we do it a weekend that you think they're gonna be around, where they could come up the weekend before, put it out, and then Archie's comes and gets it. I love the idea of having it, we bring it, which means they're gonna have to plan to bring it themselves too,
One
but
of the other things that I believe is on here, I think it is, it does says no out of town trash, bulky items or trash allowed. Residents may bring items to Archie's in Mexico or may waste energy in Auburn if he would be charged. So people do have a place to go. I was asked just the other day by somebody who was sitting here in this room, what in the world am I gonna do with this mattress and box spring? Do I have to keep it all the way till June? And I said, well, yeah, kind of, but you don't necessarily have to, because you could take it up to Archie's or down to Auburn.
We offer those to school and special pickups for refrigerators, wash machines, mattresses. We do that.
Okay, good to know.
Leanne,
If you do have roll-offs, how are you gonna determine
someone's
how
got
much
babies.
they have? What if they make 3 trips? Are you gonna be able to determine a truckload full or?
Right, exactly. I mean, at this point, we need a process. If we're gonna cut that down, we're gonna need to know
Yeah.
our registration, something, we got to know who's
Someone's
who.
gonna be there to watch it.
Well, you can do it for a couple of days, so you should remember who comes and you get. You write it down, you write a registration.
Well, I was supposed
down.
we'd have to have a clipboard and
There's
then.
1,200 properties.
Yeah, I don't know how we left, every now and then, and over the years, you'll see houses that don't have it, nothing,
Right,
it's nothing.
I didn't put anything else
And
about
nothing
the
else
last
that
year.
have a lot.
I will
Yeah.
miss you.
If I did, someone comes back.
So,
okay, so what are we determining? We're gonna stick with roadside, we're gonna try to do a,
you know, it's hard to focus on region, we sniffed around, I think that we would like to, I think I'd like to move in that direction, perhaps. Of course, to me though, I know this has all been typed
Should we
over.
bring it up at the town meeting, ask the people what they want?
We'd have to have a warrant article on the topic. And generally speaking, there are the questions are up and down. And they're based on budget items, for the most part, budget items and ordinances. So,
We have to have someone
babysit it.
It's $1.
Yeah.
We have to
lock it up at night too. You'd have to lock it up at night if we're gonna do it multiple, 2 days. Do you know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, or we have to have you rusty camp there overnight.
Don't mention that too loud, because he'll be like, "Hi, really? That would be great."
That's what I was thinking.
And he'd be so excited.
Someone's on the computer.
Somebody on the.
Hey, Lenny,
Having driven around a lot during bulky waste, it seems that there are certain places that are a problem where there are massive piles. And I think it would behoove the select board to make note of that.
Yeah.
Well, we're already limiting it for a pickup truckload, so they put
Well,
that, they're not gonna
yeah.
get it picked up.
okay. I guess that does take care of it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we got two more over here. Ken?
Well, we have.
Dave Bowen's had his hand up for half an hour.
Maybe it would.
I can't see over
behoove
Al.
us to ask him the question if he thinks in this meeting we would reduce the 25,000 we spent in the last year on curbside if we did roll-ups, and by approximately how much?
It's kind of hard, tell him, no, isn't it?
I don't, we definitely use it because you wouldn't have as much people on the ring as much, they can just put the curves on, it's very convenient. And I'm a little concerned after I said that you guys have got more populations of the town than they do on the dumpsters. Stocks, looking dumpsters, and temples, dumpsters, but their populations are. So I'm not sure if you had 3 dumpsters here on Saturday and one on a weekend, what would you do with the excess if you didn't have it from?
Right.
And you're gonna need selectmen or somebody there to run it, you also need a loader and that stuff, not things in.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
to me like.
Dave Bowen?
It's not for this year.
Dave Bowen.
So. If I can talk now, do you think we can do it in 2 days, say Friday, Saturday? And maybe switch out dumpsters at the end of Friday per se. I'm just looking at trying to reduce.
It's a great idea.
I'd be more than happy to volunteer. Try to put this together for June, this year to help save some taxpayers money.
Could we have you do that in correlation and have you work with solid waste committee with Bonnie? Sorry,
I want to work with the solid waste committee.
I would, I just don't want to be on.
I just-
per se. For this, I would definitely help out.
It'd be good, say if they do it on a Friday, and he comes down and picks it up.
right, what he's wondering is, can he take charge of the project? Lee?
You know, I mean, I would certainly be happy if you wanted to figure out how this might work, and I'd certainly entertain, I would entertain a proposition,
I'll have something for you by next week.
you know?
Excellent.
Figuring out who gets to babysit those things and how we secure them for overnight, unless of course Alan would take the things at night and then bring them back, but are we gonna find piles
I'm
of
sure we
stuff
can
and-
find some volunteers. We'll do
find
something
stuff.
fun, like the ATV club. We'll come up with something fun and maybe have a
There you go.
gathering and
Well, there
a
you
couple
go.
campers.
But what I said, we have more of a population, so there's gonna be more stuff, we'll need more
I
roll-ups,
know,
more
that was
loaders.
well, so, but you know something, if we have a devoted citizen who is of a mind to put some energy into figuring out how this might work, I think that what we're being asked right now is, would we entertain a proposition to make this happen for June? And I'd like to say that yes, we would.
Never
But
say no.
I can try it once, I.
yeah, you know, I mean, he's been involved a little research
Try it
and,
once.
and he's obviously got that particular bee in his bonnet, so I think it's a great idea. And, the only thing is, as Leanne said, we have this, bulky waste flyer revision to approve, and if we're going to do something different with bulky waste, then, it's gonna have to be, we'll have to table this for now and take it up again.
Dave just said he'd
shortly.
have something the next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yep.
Awesome.
Great. I would like to table this recycling and waste handling guide until the next meeting. To make a decision. Oh,
Gotcha.
Just wanted to call it, dropping it down for pickup will be extremely.
I just wanna say that you can't get anything more than a nine in the box for your picture, so how much of my taxes are going to take rid of that?
we're not talking about, like, here's the lower part of your pickup truck, you stand it up. And that's what we're gonna be looking at is,
Size of the pickup. Not that then pickup truck, I'm sorry.
Right, the size of pickup truck. If you had a loaded pickup truck, that would still be a whole lot less than what we've been getting.
Yeah, if you're good, you can get the fridge and the washer and dryer and the.
Peggy,
I'm a little confused. Are you talking about bringing all your bulky waste to one place on a weekend?
that's what we're,
Not having it curbside at all? So then you have to be sure that you're home that weekend to be able to do that.
That's
You
right.
don't have the 2 weeks you can put it out the side of the road. And you have to have a vehicle of the size and capacity, and you have to have the individual strength or help to put stuff in your car to move it to this place too.
Correct.
So that's a lot of, well,
I thought it still would be curbside, but it would be
I
a spot.
talked to Max and
Oh,
Bob.
no, this would be, we'd still have.
Stored it at their house. That's a great.
People bring stuff to the Buckfield dump all the time. It's not unusual for people to load up their vehicle and bring it to the dump.
I think it'll be good that we're investigating it. David's already agreed to put the work into it, and I would like to move on with the agenda,
Please.
okay? But thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we would like to move on to I think it's swimming lessons. Girls,
Yes.
wow.
Come on, you
Tell me
gotta
we're
admit,
together
you,
every day?
yeah, and you gotta admit, this is,
Right?
you gotta admit, this is the best show in town on a Thursday night.
So have we got a budget and stuff in this package? That little one? Yeah, right here. I didn't know if there's anything else.
First decision is whether or not you're gonna hold swimming lessons. Second is, are they gonna be employees or contractors?
Yep. After talking to several folks in the community, we are one of the only communities left that is offering us swimming lessons to our area towns. Otherwise, the closest place is Norway in the summer on their Far Beach, or the YWCA, which is charging like almost $200 now. If we want to continue that, it means and continue to offer swim lessons, which we've been offering for how many years? Lenny, how many years have you been offering swim lessons?
That I do not know, but I bet it's been 30,
How many?
as long as Elizabeth and Ramsey were involved.
So decades, at least 2 decades, 20 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, maybe longer.
So I called a couple of places to ask about if someone could hold swim lessons on a public beach or whatever, what would the liability be individually for these folks? And it was pretty high when they didn't have control of the whole area, like our whole beach. I think that we need to hire these people as employees to run the swim lessons, which would be then covered under the town policy with some strict guidelines that they have the lifeguard certification, their CPR certification, and that the families stay during the swim lessons, which also adds to more watchful eyes. The proposal we have here talks,
That's just, I was figuring out how much we take in
yep,
and how much we pay out.
yep. Right now, Leanne's come up with what it would cost us a little under $5,000, $4,749 to do swim lessons. In the past, we've taken in 1,815 at some very, 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 very reasonable, low-cost swim lessons that haven't gone up for a long time. I personally think that there's some happy medium to get these prices raised that are still affordable, but can cover some of these costs. Or the alternative is we don't offer swim lessons. And we actually have 2 swim instructors that are willing to do it, which I think of swimming as a life skill with all the ponds and things we have. So, we do also have a job description here for a swim instructor, which basically goes through all the certifications they need to have, and so What do you think? I think that in the past, some of the towns have kicked in or paid for their folks, and I think that we need to, if we have a budget of 4750, that we reach back out to those towns that have helped support it and say, this is how much it's gonna cost per student, and will you support this? And if the town says we'll support this, then we ask for the balance from the family. David Bowen.
To do something similar to, say, the fire department, where the town of Canton charges us X amount of dollars for coverage.
Yes, they
So
do.
We can send whoever, say the town of Canton, say, okay, if you want any of your kids to participate, it's gonna cost X amount of dollars, anything Sumner, Buckfield, or whatever the select board.
Hebron,
chooses.
yep,
In my opinion, it shouldn't come from the taxpayers.
Yep.
If you have an elderly person,
Mm,
why should they pay for something that they're not getting any benefit?
mhm.
I totally agree.
You know,
Yep,
the people that are using the benefit should be the ones paying.
Mhm.
And by that token, only people who have children in school should be paying for the schools as well.
Well, that's a whole, another.
You know,
no, I don't think so. I think that he's right.
I mean, you know,
Al?
When you make him an employee, you have to jump through some hoops and paperwork, right?
Well, they have to fill out the,
I've been an employee at Buckfield High School, and I had to show either my driver's license, my birth certificate, my passport.
oh yeah, they'll have to fill out, these two are school teachers. They have to fill out
So they're, yeah,
W4s, I9s, which is, are they,
you know,
they have to
it's
fill
the
out all the
whole
same
thing.
paperwork that you had to.
It's a big hairy
in
deal.
town for you guys.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually pretty standard now.
I was,
Well,
Ken?
So if I'm hearing Dave correctly, I think what he's trying to say, or is saying, is that we set the price. That we tell the other communities what the price will be.
Yep.
Similar to the fire department thing. So we need to determine what price per student,
To equal out.
Or what price for town?
which would be per town, per student.
And
And town should be the same.
swimming instructors, how many
the
did we have last year?
cost should be the same.
Can I say something first?
Could you stand up? Because you're very petite.
A lot, but anyways, I believe we had 47 last year. We have talked to the town of Cleveland, and they're interested in joining us. My understanding that we talked about is Sumner, Hartford, Buckfield, Canton have all contributed a chunk of money.
Yeah.
It would be from towns, and then
$1
just
per student.
individual children paid for, families paid for less.
That's the trouble. is.
My understanding was Canton paid for all of their kids, that was a county decision. But I think too, asking towns, you know, we reach out to those groups and ask for some amount. We have found, we met with, parent teacher.
Can you stand up, please?
We met with the Hebron Station School parent committee, and they were more than happy to donate money to the cause. So that Hebron kids can participate, they were more than happy.
Yep.
All the other towns have already in the past, Hebron was the only one that hadn't contributed in the past.
Yep. And I see our new rec committee doing some fundraisers, doing some, you know, like sports boosters.
How do you get this figured
I
out?
did the total divided by 47 students. 750 divided by 47 students. So, but I mean, there's more than one way to fund this, so it doesn't come out of the taxpayer, and I agree that it should be a fee for service. But we can contact the towns ahead of time and say, this is what we're doing. We can start developing that volunteer rec committee that might be able to do some fundraising, and the parents, I feel the parents should hopefully participate in the cost too, either by helping do fundraising or agree, I don't want to do fundraising, here's $40 towards it or whatever, but I think there's a way to come up with it. What?
Count this out, this is a one thing.
One purchase?
Yeah, they're doing the total purchases, so you can't look at the total.
What it's gonna cost the first year.
It's still,
Yeah, it is what it's gonna cost the first year. That total, because they're gonna need that. Next year it will go down.
that was coming from monies that we already had
Recreation.
signed in the
Depends when it
recreation.
happens.
What?
Depends when it happens.
Okay,
Plus we gotta add Merton's comp, FICA, med,
right.
insurance will increase.
Yeah, so it is gonna come out to be somewhere around $100 per student
Yeah,
or so. Which is a little more than I think people might be.
right, but I don't expect it. If everyone pulls together, can you imagine trying to buy ball uniforms or you got a swim team or whatever, we're not even having to pay for pool time. This, parents now are paying this to play soccer. Or more. So I think creatively, this is all doable, but I also think that we need to hold the towns that are sending their kids a little more accountable to participate in that cost.
Well, the other piece of that occurs to me is that, swimming qualifies as an essential life skill. Whereas soccer may be, an important life skill on some level, but
What
it's
would
not.
it be if they contracted it out?
They would all have to have liability insurance, which means we're gonna pay them a whole lot more than what we're paying these young ladies. Because when they paid for that $2,000 policy, because the liability's high, we're gonna have to pay them to cover that. And my thought is that it's gonna take some time to ramp up this program and change some fees, but we gotta start somewhere, and if we can get sponsors and people to get involved and some more fundraising every year, it's gonna cost less and less to all of our communities. Leanne,
How would fundraising work when it's in the town books? Would it have to be accepted at town meeting?
Well, no, not if
No.
not if the town has already set aside funds for that purpose. Like if we had some money set aside for a new playground and in our budget, and somebody donated a matching amount towards our playground, we could accept that on the
We
select
can
board
accept
level.
it and
because we-
spend it and that.
Yes, we can
Yeah.
accept it and spend it because we already have funds set aside for that purpose. And if we have funds in our budget set aside towards swim lessons, then I think that the fundraising money could also be accepted in that same way. I mean, you're welcome to check with MMA if you want, but I think that's what you're gonna find out.
do we know what swim lessons we don't do? We don't know what they cost us in the past?
I have no idea. It was never.
It was part of the rec budget and then money came in, yeah. Yes, could you stand again,
I'll
please?
Say again, part of how this happened, I think, and I don't know if everybody knows, so I think it's some. I taught some lessons myself when I had my own business, kind of liability insurance, et cetera, et cetera. When I taught last year, there was no insurance, there was no certification required, there was no, like, we just teach swim lessons. So that's part of like, I understand the increased costs, but I also, for the town protection, was like, I'm not comfortable teaching, having background in water safety. I was an assistant public service. So, like, I want to protect you guys as well as us.
Sure.
And that's part of our job, is to protect our residents.
It's actually, it's job once.
Right.
That is a certified.
We want to do it the right way, right? We've lucked out so far because we could have been in trouble. Is there any other comments or additions from the community here? Yes,
Do you charge a different fee for residents and non-residents?
We don't know, cause we weren't running
That
it.
would be a thing too, I mean, how
Yeah.
residents should actually have a leaking.
I mean, we did accept the money for the first time last summer. I think it was the same. I think it was the same price for everyone.
Could I make a suggestion that you contact either Elizabeth or Ramsey because they know? And instead of our speculating, we could have answers.
Good point.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, it was, those were towns, it's been those. And it was, they all paid the same.
And they all paid the
They
same.
all paid the
Yeah.
same per student. The difference was Canton paid for Canton students, so their families. And my understanding was each town donated whatever.
Can't equate the
Yeah.
kids to,
Like,
because they-
because this Hartford summer went through the school, so that was a PTO type situation. Canton did their thing, Hartford. And that's, I presume that was in the budget, so.
I make a motion, we set up a swim program with 2 employees. We hopefully will build our volunteer rec group. Oh,
You're motioning to.
motioning
hire-
to,
You want to hire these 2 employees?
yes. And have them manage a swim program for this year.
Don't add, I'm supposed to, just don't add a lot into the motion itself so that you can get.
Hire these 2 employees to run a swim program for this year.
I'll second it.
All in favor? All opposed?
And that job description is okay?
I thought it was good.
There won't be a problem with not advertising for the positions or anything, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. If we get swamped by angry.
Welcome.
Angry swimming instructors from somewhere else will tell them that it's better than it's.
You can come on in, right. Okay, moving forward to open session. Oh, sorry, you have to stand up because we can't see you.
Certification. That was contingent on this calendar year's budget.
Yep,
Do we see Leanne? I've reached out, I can talk to you. We have first dates, first costs.
Yep.
Lined up, and we safety equipment, if it's found.
Yep.
funded Based on.
correct.
So should I?
And we've already got some budget for the rec committee that's in this year's budget. So you'll see Leanne for that. Oh, you're very welcome. All right, open session. I saw some hands. Al,
This, Darrington Road, this calendar reminder. We have to go through this because we messed up.
No.
I mean, the town voted not to do this. So why is it coming back up again? Unless we messed, go ahead.
Leanne,
We had a bunch of washouts on that road.
What do we have?
Washouts during the storm disasters, which we put like $40,000 into
Something
the
like that,
road.
yeah, right about.
The reason it didn't pass last time is because Bim said it would cost $70,000 to fix the road. That was one of the reasons. And now all it needs is gravel. You know, Selectmen had told the residents of that road that they would reconsider this.
I didn't say that. Maybe other selectmen did, but yeah.
Well, it's like meetings.
Spending the money on that road takes away from the other roads that need it. You know, now,
The money's going to be reimbursed by FEMA.
maybe. It was a discontinued road, so I don't really.
It's not-
No, it's just summer maintained, limited summer maintenance.
There-
I'm
There are
just saying,
basically three classes of roads. There are town roads, there are discontinued roads, and there are abandoned roads. And that road was never closed. In other words, it was never
there's some of the things they
discontinued.
know.
Discontinued means taking it to town meeting
understand.
and so
We
forth.
already voted on not to do winter plowing hours.
2 years in a row, yep.
So why would you bring it up again?
We said that at the last meeting, you weren't here.
I think Cindy had her hand up for you. Cindy, would you stand, please? Thank you.
Why is there a meeting scheduled for March 21st on a hearing that nobody ever voted for? We've never heard it voted here, that you wanted the meeting?
They voted the last meeting.
No, we didn't vote.
No, no, there was nothing said about a public hearing.
Might have been 2 meetings ago.
I wasn't here.
They voted on it.
It was not said.
There was no vote. I'd like to see it.
Yes, there was.
There was no vote when it was Lee and I don't remember voting on it before. I
Yeah,
just
no, it wasn't.
remember seeing it.
Wasn't in our last meeting because it was just the two of us.
Right, yeah.
So it's probably.
But I don't remember voting on it.
But,
Bring it up or no petition? Do they not need a petition?
No.
They don't need a petition again. They can just ask for a,
Last year. Year before, I don't know. This has been brought up 2 years in a row. Voted on.
At the town meeting, you voted on.
And yes, and I'm a new member of your ordinance committee. There is an ordinance that addresses this type of road for this type of situation for winter plowing. That comes right out and it says the landowners are the ones that need to upgrade the road to town specs.
No,
Yes, it does.
this is a town road. This is not a private road.
It will maintain in the summer and it specifies.
They are not allowed to do any work on the road.
Because he was part of,
It is
well, he was on the ordinance committee.
so it was
No.
Jeremy last
No.
night too, I
It's
guess.
not, correct. Please, I'm not asking you the question.
Sorry, but it's not discontinued.
It's not discontinued. It is a road in the town that doesn't have any winter maintenance and has been voted on every 10 years for 40 years.
Right, they should.
And it has been voted on the last 2 years in town meeting to continue that for another 10 years. But now it's being brought up as a public hearing that was never voted on by selectmen. To have another meeting, a hearing, so
yeah.
residents that didn't even have a
I
petition.
think we let's try to look
To
up
come forward.
the minutes that state that, but we
So-
can see it.
The ordinance that Cindy is referring to is right in front of you. There is an ordinance in the town books that clearly
It does
states
not apply to that road.
that it does apply to that road.
When they moved on that road, did they know that it wasn't plowed? Why is it? They moved there knowing it wasn't plowed.
I will read this ordinance to you. This ordinance shall not apply to subdivision roads which are governed by subdivision ordinance, nor to private roads, nor to private driveways, nor to existing town maintained roads. This Darrington Road, as on many other roads that don't have winter maintenance, is not a town maintained road, existing town maintained road, because it doesn't have winter maintenance. It is a town road.
Has
The
someone,
ordinance shall apply to roads proposed for acceptance by town meeting, but not currently maintained by the town. So that
ordinance-
applies to this, please don't interrupt. Should an applicant or a group of applicants request acceptance of the road not currently maintained by the town, and therefore change the status to maintenance by the town, which is the request, the applicant shall bear responsibility for payment of the cost of hiring any experts needed to ensure that the road meets town standards. It clearly states that it's for roads that don't have summer or winter maintenance. Otherwise, what roads are left if it isn't? And if you go down to Article 7, it refers to that specific issue. says the approval of by the select board of a proposed road or change in status of a road, which is exactly what the appellant is trying to do, comma, such as winter maintenance, comma. That it has to be brought before the town, that the select board doesn't have the authority. You do have the authority to bring another hearing up. Why would you bring another hearing up when you've already had hearings 2 years in a row? And the town, the legislative body of the town, has decided not to maintain this in the winter. You don't respect the legislative body of the town's decision the last 2 years, therefore you want to override.
Do you want to read the motions and approve them?
What date was that?
So I think that first of all, the hearing should be canceled because it wasn't voted upon by the select board.
Yes, it was. It's right here,
You were there, right?
I don't remember voting on it.
February 1st, 2024.
Where's the petition?
We voted to have a public hearing.
Yes. We can find it again.
So someone made the motion. I'd like to make a motion that we have a public hearing for Darrington Road.
Who seconded it?
Yeah.
I have no idea, because I know I wouldn't have made the motion. And I wouldn't have voted on it.
Winter Road opening order of Board of Selectmen, Darrington Road. Lee motion to hold a public hearing to discuss the opening of Darrington Road, which this discussion should be there. To winter plowing on March 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. Kathy second, all in favor, 2, 1 abstain.
Why would the town select board, if they did actually make a vote, go against the legislative body of this town 2 years in a row to bring it up for vote again? The town has voiced their opinion. What's disrespectful to go against their opinion after 2 years? I wouldn't think it would be in the advantage of anyone running for select.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, no, Peggy.
Personally don't know anything about the road or who lives on it, anything like that, but it just seems to me, if you have a road that's not maintained in the winter, what's gonna happen eventually if people live there that have children and then have to get busing? I don't know, I mean, I don't know.
But they
people
moved
who are
to-
elderly.
Yep. But they moved to a road that's not maintained and then want us to change it after 40 years?
That's why I'm wondering why you're.
You had a hearing last year and the year before.
All right, next.
Can I just say, like, the people at Pine Shore are limited to what they, you know, what, because it's a private place, I mean, we're limited there, I mean.
You have an ordinance that addresses it, it's very specific to it. The ordinance should be what's handed to as a family.
Al's
Yeah.
first and then Steve. Al?
Lee, what benefit is this to you? Why are you pushing so hard for this? You always
I'm
have,
not pushing
you always,
so
you
hard.
always have a reason, Lee.
I remember the night he was here, I think it was actually.
I don't know.
Oh, wait.
No,
I don't remember voting, but
I just read the minutes.
Remember it was. No one here to.
So the public meeting is just to discuss,
Well, that gentleman. everybody,
Right.
you know,
it's just to discuss anything.
it is to discuss.
So this could be the hearing right now.
It wasn't even a closed vote either, I mean, if it was a closed vote, maybe, but that wasn't even a closed vote on that road. But you even bring it back up.
You don't respect the legislative body of this town by bringing it up again 3 years in a row. They voted 2 years in a row, but 10 years, just like they did for 3 decades.
They're hoping for people not to show up.
They are hoping the way to down.
This was an error. the way that this- Gotta remember it, right? So-
Well, I have to tell you that the minutes state, and we signed off on those minutes, that we voted on this, though I do not remember doing that. I know that would be the abstained one, because I know I wouldn't agree with that. But, because of that, we need to honor that public hearing, which will happen on the 21st of this month. Lenny?
Someone has their hand.
I was just going to say, why are we having a hearing now?
But not
But-
every
You're
year.
not, you know.
But
It's
every
open
year.
session, Lenny. They brought
I
it up.
know, but there is a hearing set up, so
Yes, yeah,
that's the place.
correct.
Yeah, I agree with Lenny.
Okay, and yes,
How many people were in attendance at that meeting that vote happened?
I do
It
not.
probably was an empty room, I bet.
Actually, I
Because
think
I would've been
if it
there,
was-
I would not.
if it was the beginning of February, I think we were looking
It
at
was on the agenda.
contracts and
I
stuff that,
missed that meeting. I would've been.
but again, who put, I know I didn't put on the agenda, but doesn't mean it wasn't there.
I have the copy of the ordinance. What don't you agree about on the ordinance?
So
Why can't we? follow
I
the
just,
ordinance?
I just want to, state that, we're gonna move forward. We do have a public hearing because the notes say that this happened and we approved the notes. So we,
I don't recall that.
so we are gonna have that public hearing.
Nobody's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not when you weren't here.
It ain't nothing that's gonna be decided at that meeting.
So, because
Can I
it's been
just
voted,
ask, can I just ask a quick clarification question? Did I hear Leanne say that the road has been improved to the tune of 40,000, which FEMA is funding, and therefore the 70,000 figure has been cut to 30,000? Is that right?
correct, but that doesn't, we're arguing about the,
I know.
whether
I'm
it was
just trying to,
approved and whether we're gonna have that public hearing, which we will, so.
no, I just wanted to fix the figures in my mind, if
Yeah.
you don't mind, and that
No,
is
not at
correct.
all.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right, so is there any further discussions? I'd like to move forward, please.
Just move forward.
All right, great. Oh, all right, Leanne's got an open session.
July 4th, do you want to meet on July 4th?
I do not want to meet on July 4th.
When do you want to meet?
That's the first Thursday of the month. Obviously,
Apparently so.
let me. All right. Open in my calendar too.
Oh, it's not, so yes, it is.
Okay. July, okay. Could we change it to meet like July 2nd on a Tuesday? Versus pushing it another week? What do you think, Lee? On it, right, if we do a Tuesday, be clear, that's what I was thinking.
Tuesday, as far as I know, it would be clear, and that would be preferable to go in the next week, because then we have a scheduled meeting on the 18th,
Yep,
so.
and July 3rd, people have family coming, prepping for barbecues and parades and
Some people are.
so, yep, some people are.
Second.
So do I need a, do we need a motion? I would like to make a motion that we move our July 4th meeting to Tuesday, July 2nd. Is there a second to the 2nd?
I second it.
All right, all in favor? Good. Okay, thank you very much, Leanne, for bringing that to our attention. Because I certainly don't want to be here July 4th. All right, new business, budget 2024-25 selectmen recommendations. So we're gonna go through that tonight.
Would you rather schedule a workshop to work on this?
Oh,
Yeah.
I would like that very much. Yep.
We have to go back to town.
To the calendar, not July.
A lot.
Well, it has to be soon because I have to get the book ready for the budget committee.
Okay. Do we want to get together Monday, the 11th? And you think we can get this done in a half hour to an hour? We do our homework.
When you love-
Monday, the 11th. March 11th. Lee?
Yeah. Are we talking about 7 PM?
Is 7 okay? It's okay with me. Okay with you guys? At 7. So I'd like to make a motion. We do a budget workshop on Monday at 7 o'clock on March 11th. All right, all in favor? Great. Okay, excellent. And
You got a question, please, could I speak? I know why this was done. You guys thought the state was gonna override the decision of the town and let them do the road. Yeah, I can remember the conversation.
State.
The state, yeah, because they didn't they go to the state?
no, they went the county commissioners who did not, but that had nothing to do with that.
You guys thought that they were gonna, supposedly they were gonna override it. That's what they were doing.
No, I think the residents hoped that that would be the case, but they did not. They.
But you didn't find that out until after that meeting, after this meeting.
No, that was February. That was back last
Found that
June.
out Back last summer.
Yeah, we knew in June that it was done. Yeah, it was.
Remember that, I remember it coming up just recently. And me and Kevin talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting power poles in and stuff like that.
Oh, that had to do with, CMP needed to move him back.
Powers up there for.
Okay. All right, Lenny, would you like to contribute to the conversation?
I'm so sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay. Great. The next thing on the agenda is Selectmen Meeting date, July 4th, which we now know is July 2nd. Appointments and resignations. Oops,
I didn't know that was,
whoopsie. So
Point resignation.
appointments and resignations, we have Nancy Sullivan's resignation.
I move that we accept Nancy Sullivan's resignation with regret.
I second that. All in favor? All right, I would like to make a motion.
There's a bunch of trainings too,
What's that?
the trainings.
Yeah, no, I just want to make a motion. We have an alternate on ordinance. I'd like to move her up if she was willing. Isn't Cindy was voted to be an alternate on ordinance? Yes? Do we need to move her up? Do we have to do
We would
anything?
need a resignation.
We have one.
Just said it.
We
I have to
have-
put it in my-
Oh, we need Cindy's resignation from the alternate so that she can move up into,
You did Steve.
I thought they just moved on.
I have no idea. Is that not what an alternate does?
Any position has to resign if they want to be appointed to a different position.
Gotcha. I just assumed like, like being the bridesmaid, never the bride. So you guys get it.
So she
And then
can catch the
Steve can
bouquet
go in
and
as
be all
alternate.
set.
Yeah. So, Cindy, if you're willing to sign a resignation and move into that position. Do we want to write one? Can you write that right now? Do you want me to write it and you'll sign it? Oh, no, we want to vote on it tonight, because otherwise it's gonna be the next meeting.
Not that the ordinance committee is meeting between now and. the
Oh,
meeting.
that's true.
And they should-
So I.
Okay, would you please
I'd
do
like to
one
suggest-
when you're ready?
I'd like to suggest that it's a great idea, but that it's not limited.
Okay,
We
great.
can nominate Steve.
Yeah, we can do that then.
I would like to move that we afford the cost for the upcoming workshops for our deputy in training, town clerk.
I put all of those in there because I didn't know which one she wanted to go to, but it is this one. Your
That one.
election.
Okay, yes, I move that we approve the $55 for the basic excise tax workshop budget of the Maine Municipal Tax Collectors and Treasurers Association. And it's going to be held on April 11th, 2024. And I think that this is like, looks like this might be an actual in-person class, yes?
In person, it's up there. I second that. All in favor?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's $55 plus whatever it's gonna cost us
For mileage and, yeah.
Susan, I actually do have my hand up again. While you're talking appointments and resignations, I would like to remind the board that at the MMA training, it was highly discouraged that paid town employees serve on committees or boards.
Folks, please, we're still holding a meeting
Hey,
here.
kids, can we just hold up and
Guys, really.
Bonnie, Peggy, can I get you guys to chat in the kitchen? So we're gonna wrap this up.
So what was she trying to say?
Lenny was talking about how paid employees should not be serving on committees and boards, that the MMA suggested that.
Especially the ordinance committee, which is the town rule writing committee, on whose work the planning board and appeals board depend entirely. And there could be benefit to the employee depending on how the ordinance turns out.
Okay,
That was the discussion at the training. It is highly
Conflict of interest.
gotcha.
highly discouraged.
Okay,
Okay, thank you for that.
thank you. All right, so training is taken care of. And we,
Currently exists on the committee,
Ordinance committee, yes.
are we gonna do anything about
it's highly discouraged. It's not a rule. We have a current,
Information, 30 seconds ago. So I don't think we've had time to really consider how we're gonna deal with this.
What was his question?
He asked,
no.
is anything gonna be done about this? Do we have it? He asked two questions. One is there a committee that has
an employee on it.
an employee on it? And I said, yes, the ordinance committee. He said, is there something gonna be done about this? I said, the select board was just delivered this information 30 seconds ago. I don't think I'd like to say that we think on our feet, but you know, it takes a little while to cogitate on almost.
Actually, I brought this up at the last meeting when I gave my report from the training.
Ordinance committee meeting? Or what?
No, select board meeting. The last select board meeting, when I reported about the training, I pointed out that this was brought up. I'm not saying you're not paying attention. I'm just saying it isn't brand new tonight.
Did already.
Yeah, she gave a report on it.
that 2 weeks effective?
Okay, thank you, Lenny.
You bet. I love my town.
So, do you want to put the topic on the next?
On next
select
agenda,
board?
employees serving on committees and boards. Right, do we have any correspondence?
We may not have some of this.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, I forgot about that.
What's that?
That's right.
What's that?
Steve, he can't be on the committee because he's a town employee. Yeah.
All right, so these are some of the correspondence we got for some training. One is a hybrid workshop planning for the future, in-person or remote access.
Well, I actually, I had moved to authorize the money for Jaylene to attend the,
Right, this is
Excellent,
just
yeah.
correspondence that came into the office I'm talking about.
yeah, but that's just, you can read that at a leisure. can't you?
Yeah, you can. I'm just seeing if there's anything that's really important. Got something from the governor about
Forestry.
high or moderate detected populations of brown-tail moths. So the state's notifying us that there's a dashboard or like a survey that people can take and they can get it on the main website. If you have high incidences of brown-tail moths.
There's places around. Boy, I tell
Okay,
you what,
so that's out
on the-
there.
On the way, driving out to Jay when it was commuting out that way, oh my God, there was a whole stretch where the
We got a
oak trees were just decimated.
We got a cool flyer on traffic stuff and you ordered some stuff for the grants, right?
No, I haven't. I'm waiting for an estimate, but if you see something in there that would work. is that
Yeah.
one-
Cool. I'll look through
I
that.
haven't submitted the grants, so don't, I mean.
Gotcha. 'Cause maybe maybe a flashing stop sign that's. And this is a user tips and stuff on our heat pumps, which we should put in an important spot from Efficiency Maine. That's what we have for correspondence.
Food bank.
Well, and then we have this.
And then food bank, yeah.
Little report from the food bank.
How come we don't get one from Polly? Why do we always get them from Bill?
Cause they're always, he's the one that takes care of
He's the one,
So he has our funds, the food bank funds?
he's the one that keeps track of everything.
Okay. Have we received,
Hartford Food Bank info for the period.
have we,
12/1/23
Yep.
to 12/26/24. For that period, the Hartford Food Bank had 114 household visits by 29 households representing 73 residents. Total expenditures for the period were $1,007.07.
so that's for a quarter, which means it must be probably close to 4,000 if it's 1,000 per quarter.
And they've received like 10,000 in the last year.
Awesome. So Hartford Food Bank received about 10 grand last year in funding plus the 5,000, or that includes the 5,000?
The total that I saw through the office.
Gotcha. So they spent,
Question about that? Did
Yeah.
you say there's 140 households in Hartford that are using the food bank?
No, I think it was
114 households.
114 visits, or distributions to
29, yeah.
How many households?
29,
73 residents.
yeah, 29 households representing 73 residents.
I was just wondering, because I thought like.
Just, I mean, some of these families have a lot
Yeah.
of kids.
Yeah.
Some are elderly who live alone.
And I know last year when we were working on the budget, we asked for a fiscal accounting for the food bank, so I'm assuming we'll have that for budget time of what she brought in and what they left.
They already submitted everything that they
Yeah.
want to, I believe.
Right, but
for the-
Polly had said she'd submit the how much money they got in, how much they spent for Hartford. So we can report back to anyone that's interested. No, we don't have that.
Would you say you wanted separate?
Right, last year, we talked about, we pulled the food bank and other groups into the town. And we said, no, if you, long as you provide a fiscal accounting of what you had for money coming in, well, how you spent it, and for budget time, an annual report type thing.
Polly said she would give you.
And Polly said she'd give us, right,
How much she had and how much she spent out and the balance that was left. That was supposed to be for this year.
yeah. And we know that from what Leanne said, about 10 grand came in. So, and this one says that they spent about $1,007 in the last quarter. So if we just base it on that, that'd be around 4 grand she spent, but she promised she'd do that, so I'm sure she's gonna do that before budget time. Do we need to send her a reminder?
I'll remind her.
Okay,
Well, they sent a request for more money, but they didn't send that. The deadline was December 31st.
gotcha. But she should have about 5 grand left in there anyway. If she had started with 10 grand, she should have 5 grand in there. But we'll wait for her
Awesome.
report. Yeah. Okay, that is it. We are done. I'd like to adjourn. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.